Illegal immigration has remained a multifaceted and deeply contested subject in the United States for decades. It has consistently been at the forefront of political deliberations, social dialogues, and public discourse. As a nation fundamentally shaped by immigration, the United States continues to grapple with the intricate challenge of managing undocumented populations while upholding its legacy as a beacon of opportunity and freedom. Among the countries significantly contributing to this ongoing phenomenon, Mexico, El Salvador, and India stand out, each propelled by distinct circumstances and migration motivations. This presentation will delve into the top 10 countries contributing to illegal immigration in the United States, offering an in-depth examination of the driving forces behind migration, the demographic characteristics of these immigrant populations, and the broader ramifications for U.S. immigration policies. Before we proceed, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share your perspectives in the comment section. Now, let's embark on this detailed and thought-provoking exploration. 1. Mexico, the enduring leader in migration. Mexico has consistently been the foremost source of undocumented immigration to the United States. As of 2024, approximately 4 million unauthorized Mexican immigrants resided in the U.S., constituting roughly 37% of the total undocumented population. While this represents a significant decline from prior decades, when Mexicans accounted for over half of all unauthorized immigrants, their numbers remain unmatched. The enduring migration from Mexico is primarily fueled by economic disparities. Despite pockets of improvement in Mexico's economy, vast segments of the population continue to endure poverty, unemployment, and meager wages. These economic hardships drive countless Mexicans to seek better opportunities north of the border. In addition to economic challenges, pervasive violence and crime serve as significant push factors. The grip of drug cartels and organized crime syndicates in various regions forces families to flee for their safety. Meanwhile, family reunification acts as a compelling motivator, as many Mexican immigrants aim to join relatives who have already established lives in the U.S. The recent decline in Mexican migration has been attributed to several factors, including improved economic opportunities within Mexico, stricter U.S. border enforcement, and shifting demographic trends. Nonetheless, Mexico remains at the top of the list due to its geographical proximity and the long-standing push-pull dynamics that perpetuate migration. Furthermore, the legacy of bilateral agreements, such as the Bracero program in the mid-20th century, continues to influence patterns of migration. These historical ties have established networks that facilitate movement even today. The ongoing debates surrounding policies like the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, DACA, and proposed border wall expansions underscore the complexity of addressing Mexican immigration comprehensively. 2. El Salvador, a nation in perpetual crisis. El Salvador is another prominent contributor to illegal immigration in the United States. By 2024, approximately 750,000 unauthorized Salvadoran immigrants resided in the country, reflecting a growing trend as more Salvadorans flee their homeland amidst dire circumstances. One of the principal drivers of Salvadoran migration is gang violence. With one of the highest homicide rates in the world, largely due to the dominance of criminal gangs such as MS-13 and Barrio 18, Salvadorans, particularly young people, are often left with no choice but to escape. These gangs target vulnerable individuals for recruitment, threatening or punishing those who resist. Economic struggles further exacerbate the crisis. High unemployment, limited job opportunities, and persistent poverty leave many Salvadorans without viable means to sustain themselves. Adding to these challenges, natural disasters such as hurricanes and earthquakes have devastated the country's infrastructure, forcing families to abandon their homes and livelihoods. Temporary Protected Status, TPS, in the United States has offered some relief for Salvadoran immigrants by allowing them to remain in the U.S. legally due to unsafe conditions in their home country. However, Changes in U.S. administrations and evolving immigration policies continue to create uncertainty for this community, leaving their futures precarious. Additionally, the humanitarian crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border highlights the plight of Salvadoran migrants. Caravans comprising thousands of individuals often make perilous journeys through Guatemala and Mexico, facing extortion, exploitation, and violence along the way. The resilience and determination of Salvadoran immigrants reflect their dire need for safety and opportunity. 3. India, an emerging source of unauthorized immigration. India has become an increasingly significant source of undocumented immigration to the United States. As of 2024, an estimated 725,000 unauthorized Indian immigrants were residing in the U.S., marking a notable uptick compared to previous years and signaling evolving migration patterns. Unlike Mexican and Salvadoran migrants, Indian immigrants are often driven by distinct motivations. Many Indians encounter obstacles in securing legal visas due to stringent requirements involving education, language proficiency, and financial stability. Consequently, some resort to irregular channels to achieve their aspirations of better job opportunities, higher salaries, and an enhanced standard of living. Sophisticated smuggling networks have also emerged, facilitating illegal entry into the U.S. at exorbitant costs, often exceeding $100,000 per individual. Most undocumented Indian immigrants are young males between 18 and 34 years old, drawn by the promise of a brighter future rather than fleeing immediate threats of violence or destitution. Furthermore, the influence of India's vast diaspora network cannot be understated. Many undocumented immigrants rely on connections within the Indian American community to secure housing, jobs, and other forms of support upon arrival. The growing presence of Indian migrants underscores the shifting dynamics of global migration and the diverse motivations behind it. 4. Guatemala, a nation shaped by hardship. Guatemala's history of migration to the United States has been deeply influenced by decades of political instability, economic adversity, and natural disasters. By 2024, approximately 675,000 undocumented Guatemalans resided in the U.S. Crime and violence remain pervasive issues, with gang activity, domestic violence, and high homicide rates driving migration. Many Guatemalans face extreme poverty and lack basic necessities, pushing them to seek opportunities abroad. Additionally, Guatemala's vulnerability to natural disasters, such as hurricanes and earthquakes, exacerbates these challenges by displacing families and devastating communities. The journey to the U.S. from Guatemala is fraught with peril. Migrants frequently encounter extortion, robbery, and violence from criminal organizations along the way. Despite the risks, thousands embark on the arduous trek each year, driven by hopes of a better future. The U.S. has responded with mixed approaches, ranging from humanitarian aid to stricter border controls. Programs aimed at addressing root causes of migration, such as economic development initiatives and anti-corruption measures in Guatemala, offer potential solutions but face significant hurdles in implementation. 5. Venezuela, a humanitarian crisis. The political and economic collapse of Venezuela has triggered one of the most significant migration crises in modern history. By 2024, around 270,000 undocumented Venezuelans were estimated to be living in the U.S., a sharp increase from previous years. Political oppression and human rights abuses under the Venezuelan regime have forced many to flee. Since 2013, widespread protests, hyperinflation, and a crumbling economy have left millions in extreme poverty, with shortages of basic necessities such as food and medicine. The journey to the U.S. is often fraught with challenges, involving transit through multiple countries and dangerous routes. While some Venezuelans qualify for temporary protected status, TPS, in the U.S., many remain undocumented due to complex legal barriers. The U.S. has played a pivotal role in supporting Venezuelan migrants, offering humanitarian aid and advocating for international cooperation to address the crisis. However, The scale of displacement requires more robust and coordinated efforts to ensure sustainable solutions. 6. The Philippines. A legacy of migration. The Philippines has a long history of migration to the United States, with significant waves beginning in the early 20th century. As of 2021, over 2 million Filipinos resided in the U.S., with an estimated 310,000 living without legal status. Economic hardship remains a key motivator for Filipino migration. High unemployment and underemployment drive individuals to pursue better-paying jobs abroad. Family reunification and aspirations for higher education or professional advancement further fuel migration. However, restrictive U.S. immigration policies often make legal pathways increasingly difficult to navigate. Many undocumented Filipinos enter the U.S. legally on temporary visas but overstay due to financial pressures or family commitments. Others rely on smuggling networks, exposing themselves to significant risks during their journeys. The contributions of Filipino immigrants, particularly in sectors such as healthcare, underscore the need for inclusive policies that recognize their value to American society. Addressing the challenges faced by undocumented Filipinos requires a nuanced approach that balances enforcement with compassion. 7. China. A complex migration dynamic. China has become a growing source of undocumented immigration to the U.S., with an estimated 400,000 unauthorized Chinese immigrants residing in the country as of recent years. Political repression is a major driver of Chinese migration, with many individuals fleeing persecution for advocating democracy or opposing government policies. Despite China's economic growth, substantial inequality in rural areas pushes individuals to seek opportunities abroad. Many undocumented Chinese immigrants initially enter the U.S. on student or tourist visas but overstay due to economic difficulties or political concerns. Others rely on smuggling networks, taking perilous routes to reach their destination. 8. Colombia. A nation seeking stability. Colombia's migration trends are shaped by its history of political and economic challenges. By 2024, around 130,000 undocumented Colombians resided in the U.S. The nation's decades-long internal conflict, involving guerrilla groups and drug cartels, has displaced millions. Combined with economic hardships and widespread corruption, these factors compel many Colombians to leave in search of stability and security. 9. Brazil. Aspiring for a better life. Brazil, South America's largest nation, has seen a significant number of its citizens migrate to the U.S., with around 150,000 undocumented Brazilians residing in the country. Deep economic inequality, political instability, and high unemployment drive migration. Many Brazilians enter the U.S. legally on temporary visas but overstay, while others embark on dangerous routes facilitated by smugglers. 10. Dominican Republic. Seeking new horizons. The Dominican Republic has a long tradition of migration to the U.S. As of recent data, around 130,000 undocumented Dominicans reside in the country. Economic instability, high unemployment, and aspirations for family reunification fuel this migration. Each of these immigrant communities brings unique stories, challenges, and contributions to the U.S., reflecting the complexities of migration. By understanding these narratives, we can foster a deeper appreciation of the resilience and aspirations driving such journeys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below.